Hey guys, Kurt from Time Machine Transport. I am redoing the video from yesterday, so if you guys watched it, it was a debacle. Anyways, me and Mr. Clyde are chilling in the office. Anyways, I got my shop gear on and ready to go to the shop. So we just got back from a long walk, and I watched the video yesterday. Excuse my office; it's a mess. So I don't know if you guys want to see around. It's a mess. My wife and her eBay sales and more eBay stuff. Anyways, I'm very transparent. I don't care if you guys see our place. So, anyways, so I watched the video on my way home from the shop yesterday, or I actually listened to it while I was driving, and it was so just like confusing with all the stuff I was saying in there and everything else. So I actually prepared better notes instead of office stickies. I should have did that the first time because I look like an idiot. But anyways, so my wife and I were watching on Saturday. We were watching a movie called The Good Lie. It was a really, really good movie, and it's about some Sudanese. It was about these Sudanese refugees that came over to the United States from Sudan in the 80s. It was a really good movie. It was based on a true story. Anyways, movie's over. We're getting ready to go to bed. And as soon as I go to delete the movie, Spectrum, we have Spectrum cable network, and their news comes on, like the propaganda comes on. And they're talking about, constant, if you don't know that I don't call it obviously what they call it, because they actually YouTube wanted to take down my video anyways, because of the posting on it, and I posted it. 158 million people vaxxed, blah blah blah. Our government's lying to us. So, anyways, they sent me an email, so they're gonna take it down. So I took it down anyways, and it was a completely foolish video anyways with the stuff I was throwing out there. Anyways, so they start talking about the vax numbers or whatever. And just so they don't, flag this video or whatever and make me take this one down. And I think it was just the title. They said it wasn't anything because I guess with the algorithms. I don't know if all that shit's true, but anyways, I called it Terrell Buckley because Terrell Buckley was a defensive player. I think he was a cornerback or a safety for the Green Bay Packers, and he called himself the Vaccinator. So I just called it Terrell Buckley, and he called himself the Vaccinator because he was a hard hitter, and he said he was giving everybody a shot. So, anyways, the Vaccinator, giving y'all a shot. So we're going to refer to it as the Terrell Buckley. So, Spectrum was talking about the Terrell Buckley and the numbers, and it said there was 158 million Terrell Buckley in the U.S. Fully Terrell Buckley, means 2 doses. And there was 184 that have received at least 1 dose. So 158 completely Terrell Buckley. The other 26 million just had at least 1. So Mr. Clyde and I, while we were walking, I was thinking about this video, and I'm like, I'm just gonna redo it because I know I'm kicking the can down the road at the end of the day. However, what you doing down there, Bubba? Dude loves to chew on his big ass bones. He's definitely a daddy's boy. He's going to be devastated when I get back on the road. Oh, the injectors are coming this week finally for my truck. So, anyways, I'm going crazy. I've been home, I think almost 2 months, and I'm going nuts. So I'm telling my wife, Sarah. If you don't know, she's an RN at the hospital. She works cardiology. She worked ICU and dialysis for years. Now she's in cardiology. So, anyways, damn, I need some serious glasses. So, I'm telling her, I'm like, the numbers just don't make sense. They don't make sense. And if you're watching this, you're not subscribed to my channel. I just had a tooth pulled. I just got fitted for braces. So I'm not some sort of, nasty mouth dude or person. So, and I'm very self-conscious about it right now because I had it pulled the other last week. So, anyways, I'm telling her, I'm like, the numbers just don't make sense. So the first Terrell Buckley was December 14th of 2020. It was a nurse in New York, I believe. And so since uh, December 14th, 2020 till present date, it's 211 days. So I figured, well, in 211 days, how could they have done those kind of numbers in 211 days in the U.S.? Well, when I figured the numbers, it's very very possible, because when you break it down, so basically I just took the one, and I explained this before. So I took the three, because there it's doubled. So the fully vax would actually be 334 million. That was the numbers today when I looked it up. So I'll put you guys down. I don't have to prop you. I was able to hear the video yesterday. So, anyways, so it was 334 million Terrell Buckleys, because if you have it's 159 today's numbers. We're fully Terrell Buckley, so that means I got 2 doses. So then it said 334 million Terrell Buckleys were administered, because obviously it's 2 times. So, which I'm not really sure how that works. So anyways, if you take 334 million divided by, what I did was I figured on Sundays, I don't know if they were administering, I'm sure they were doing, so many days, whatever the case is, blah, blah, blah. So I broke it down. I figured they probably weren't doing it on Sundays, but I could be wrong. But I figured if they did, and I broke this down into straight 24 hours. So not like 10-hour days like I did yesterday's video. And the numbers are very, very possible. At first I was like, that's crazy. There's no possible way. So I took 334 million. I divided it by 181 days from current day to December 14, 2020, and took out 30 Sundays. So it ended up coming out to be 181 days. So I took 334 million, I divided it by 181 days, and I got 1,845,303 people per day getting Terrell Buckley. And then I divided that by 24 hours, and I got 76,887 per hour. Then I divided that by 1,440, because there's 1,440 minutes in a day. It was 53 people per minute or something like it. I'm not a mathematician, but anyways, I don't care if it was 1,000 people per minute. It's very, very doable in the U.S., or anywhere for that matter. So, I don't know. At first, I had a call coming. At first, it seemed like, I told my wife, I'm like, there's no possible way that they could have did that in 7 months. No, but it's very, very possible. So I was very intrigued by that, and I started doing some research yesterday morning. And so far, they're saying over 1 billion people are unwilling to be Terrell Buckleyed. Okay, so that's pretty nice. So 334 million doses administered. Now, there's a difference between manufactured, distributed, and administered. Obviously, manufactured is they're making it, and distribution would be that obviously they're bringing it to the destinations to be administered, and administered would be it's in your arm. So they have 334 million administered or given. And then, so anyways, as I'm going through all these numbers, I'm going to all these different websites, and I went to Pfizer, which now it's Pfizer/BioNTech, or a merged company now. So I was looking at this stuff for hours and hours yesterday. And I'm not that guy. I'm not, obviously I drive semi for a living. I have a small trucking company, and I'm not a CEO or that college educated guy. So, anyways, when I was going on all these sites, the global totals as of March 3rd of 2021, the global totals of administered is 3,356,800. Oh, I'm sorry, 3,356,873,591 people as of March 3rd, 2021. These are all 2021 numbers. So China had 1,342,381,000. EU had 425,647,339. India 368,576,352. Brazil only had 200,000. The US had 103 million. Which that was of March. So you got May, June, and we're only in the few weeks of July. So this was as of March 3rd, 2021. So you figure April, May, June, 3 full months, and then a part of a week in July. Today's the 13th of July, 2021. And on this site, you can go on statista.com. That's STATISTA.com for the info. And there's 202 countries on the complete list. But and Germany was 103 million, and there's you can just go on and look at any one of your countries. So if we have 334 these totals, the global total as of March 3rd, 2021, those are administered. So just like the 334 million administered in the U.S. and 159 million fully Terrell Buckleyed. So they did 231, right? So 334 minus 103 million would be 231 million. So January, February, and a couple days into March, well, actually December, because December 14th was the very first day that it was administered to a nurse in New York. So half of December, January, February, and a couple days. I mean, I'm sure it probably took a couple days for the article to come out, so we'll just say March. So January and February, and then half of December, they did 103 million. So April, May, June, I guess that would be possible. 231 million. I don't know. I don't see these numbers, and I'm going to get into it, and maybe you guys will or won't see the numbers as well. So there's 5 companies that they are using to Terrell Buckley the U.S. Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and Novavax. Pfizer and BioNTech are now merged. So 5 companies are manufacturing, distributing, and they're not obviously administering it, but they're the 5 companies that are providing it for the U.S. Now, this is interesting. Pharmaceutical companies, right? Pharmaceutical companies, the industry as a whole, they don't reveal their production capacity ever. And I know that because I've spent quite a few hours this morning trying to find out how many Terrell Buckleys have been manufactured, like, in the whole world. Nobody gives any numbers. Not one. Nobody. It's all projections. It's all, promises, or the game plan, if you will, right? So I shouldn't that be public record? Again, we're paying for this, not private corporations, not for not-for-profit organizations, not FEMA, not anybody. We're paying to keep the lights on, and they're just taking money out of the account, like thieves, essentially. And then they're going to try to mandate us take it, right? With this door to door thing with, with Crazy Joe and everything like that. Um, which that is crazy in itself. I mean, that's nuts. And people were like, "Oh no, there's no way they're going to mandate it." Well, a buddy of mine, Dan Nowak, what's up, buddy? He sent me something on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook at all. I check my messenger here and there, but I don't go on Facebook because I just don't. It's BS in my mind. So he had sent me something about this gal that received that she's got a lot of followers, I guess, on Twitter and whatnot. I don't do Twitter either, but she had did a video and said that she's getting more and more people telling her that they're receiving letters from their companies that by September, I don't know if it's fact, that by September, if they don't provide proof of the Terrell Buckley, that they can't report to work until they receive the Terrell Buckley. And people, were running around this country. Oh, there's no way they're going to do this. There's no way they're going to take our guns. Well, you know what? If you have 600 million guns out in this country, they might as well be water cannons if we're not organized. And I've said that in other videos. So people are just that naive, and it's the ignorance of being an American, right? It's the ignorance. It's our ignorance and our, it's ignorant. That we would not think that they wouldn't. Oh, they won't. There's no possible way. Just like they said, there's no possible way we'd be wearing masks or be mandated to take this Terrell Buckley, right? So I'm kind of getting off topic here, as I usually do. Stick to course, Kurt. I would be a horrible, horrible navigator. Be like, oh, there's a bunch of puppies over there. I want to go pet them. And there's lavenders over there. I want to go. I'd be a horrible, horrible navigator. So, anyways, so the pharmaceutical company. Now, this is from a person. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry as a whole, does not reveal its production capacity, says Rasmus Beck Hansen. That's Beck Bech Hansen. He's a CEO of Airfinity, a London-based company. It's an analytics company that compiles data on the industry as a whole. So, again, we're paying to keep the lights on, but yet it's not public knowledge. So these are all like projections and we're going to, and it's all smokescreen because they can't tell us what their capacity is. And they're all lies at the end of the day because our government just loves us that much, right? I truly believe, and obviously the sticks in my throat, get out of there. This dude he's worse than an infant, man. He truly is. But I love the little dude. And I love babies too, just for the record. So how is that not public record? And how are they just thieves in the night that'll slide your drawers off? I'm a thief in the night that'll slide your drawers off. How is that possible? They can just steal our money like that, and then not tell us the actual numbers of what's being manufactured. Why is it top secret? If you're the company and it's public record that you were awarded the contracts, if that's public record, then shouldn't everything else be public record? Like, how many have they actually produced? How many are manufactured? How many have been distributed? They're giving us numbers on administration. So the reason, my thought on this is, the reason being that they're not telling us how many are manufactured is because if you're halfway smart, or even if you're not halfway smart, if you see what the overall numbers are, like the global totals, right? Or the U.S. totals, and you're like, well, 334 million Terrell Buckleys were administered in the U.S., but yet the 5 companies, or the 4 companies now, unless you still consider BioNTech a 5th company, because they merged, Pfizer and BioNTech, you say, well, the 5 companies only manufactured. Now, manufacturing is different, and I'll get into that because I'll tell you what the CDC says about even when it's manufactured. It's not immediately distributed. There's a waiting period. So, and it takes a while to actually make everything. Okay, so if you were not a simpleton, or even if you were a simpleton, you could probably figure it out just by going on and saying, well, if there are 334 million Terrell Buckley, but the five companies only manufacture 225 million, how is that possible? So I said on yesterday's video, the debacle I had, I mean, it was just so confusing. I was listening to it and I'm like, man, Kurt, that makes absolutely no sense. So I was going to take it down anyways, thank goodness. So I apologize if you did watch it and it was very confusing because I was confused and I was doing the video. So I guess what I had mentioned yesterday was it's like the masks. When you walk into a store and everybody was wearing a mask, right? And obviously if you're subscribed to the channel or you know, get out of there. You're not chewing on my shoe. Nope. Sorry, Bubba. You got so many chew toys. I mean, why are you chewing on Daddy's shoe? Little naughty ass kid. Anyways, so when you and if you obviously you know that it takes a lot to have me wear a mask. Clyde, get out of there. Stop it. You're gonna get a spanking. No, good boy. So, anyways, when you walked up to a store and you saw other people wearing this face covering, right? You're like, well, in Rome, like I have friends. Oh, it's just a mask. It's not just a mask, man. it's your freedoms, right? And again, I'm kicking the can down the road, and I apologize. And this will all make sense to you at the end. Clyde, no, stop that. No, sorry. So go get your toy. Where's your toy? Dude's so smart. He goes and gets his toys. Anyways, sorry. So these numbers, they're only showing them on the mainstream television, right? And they're cramming it down our throats as propaganda. Now, they're doing that obviously because if you say, so there's 49, and I'll get to the complete numbers and what they say about the numbers, which also didn't make sense. So if you have, it's almost 50% of the population globally. Actually, that's what they're saying. Well, in the U.S., it's almost 50%, but they were saying that almost globally it was 50% on some of these outlets. Well, I'll let you know what I found. So I'm just playing with him with his toy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep him from chewing on my shit. So with that in mind, so if you're saying, okay, 50% of my neighbors are Terrell Buckley, when in Rome, so they're lying to us about these numbers, and they have to. And it's not the movie The Good Lie, it's a horrible lie. But they're doing it, I truly believe, for population control. Go to the Georgia Guidestone. It's the number one thing. I think it's the number one out of the 10 is reduce the population to 500 million for whatever reason. Maybe it's Planet X. Maybe it's, or like my brother Jason says, Planet Nabibu or Nabubu or something like that. Anyways, so it is, I don't know. My wife and I just saw the movie Greenland, and it was interesting. I couldn't imagine if that were the case, and you can only have room for X amount of people. So let's go ahead and give them a Terrell Buckley, and then eventually they'll just pass or whatever. Or if there is a little switch inside of it, and everybody, who knows? Anyways, I'm getting crazy there. But back to stay on course here, navigator. Right? Let's not go pet puppies. So, anyways, so that's interesting that it's not public information when it should be public information what their manufacturing capabilities are, because they don't want us to do the obvious math. But why aren't they telling us? What is so secret about you're not your competitor? Your people already know that you are the five companies or the competitors that have been awarded these contracts. What's so top secret about how many have been manufactured? Why do you have to fabricate everything, right? So, back on course. So you guys can go on and check out the Airfinity company. It's the London-based company, analytics company. So if you want, and you can check up any of this stuff on your own. Don't just take my word for it. All right. So as of June of 2021, like I said, these are all 2021 numbers. Johnson and Johnson, their Terrell Buckley, they're piling up on state shelves. All right. I don't know who keeps calling me. They say that they're piling up on shelves, state shelves. The Johnson and Johnson Terrell Buckley. All right, and it's the lack of the federal planning to redistribute them that is the problem, is what they're saying. And this was they specifically named Ohioans that their governor tweeted, "Hey guys, you got to get out there. We gotta speed up the process. If now's the time to get this Terrell Buckley because blah blah blah. Well, because it has a shelf life, okay." And if it's sitting on the shelves, and again, it's our money, not it's not like, and I keep saying in other videos, it's not like the White House has money trees, just growing $100 bills on it. The shit just doesn't grow on trees. They're taking it from us and they're giving it and spending it however they want, right? So if it goes to waste, is it going to waste? I don't think so. I think it's going in somebody's pockets. So anyways, so if the shelf life runs out and it's expired, it literally said in the article, means hundreds of thousands, if not millions, will go to waste. So that's pretty interesting, right? And again, it's not like they're, and I mentioned this yesterday. It's not like they're going to so when you first come up for these contracts for the government, you're not just going to pre-make a shit ton of the Terrell Buckleys, right? You're going to make different variations of it because the FDA or whatever is not going to approve certain ones or whatever. So if you make billions or even millions of one variation and they shit can it and say no, your stockholders aren't going to be very pleased because they're losing money. So they're going to probably make a few hundred or maybe even less than that of several different ones. And then when the FDA approves it, then they'll launch it and they'll start mass producing it. So, and that's in one of the articles that I read. And that's also interesting. So, in April 2021, they paused Johnson & Johnson's Terrell Buckley's because of safety concerns. Okay, now Johnson & Johnson being one of the 5, right? It was something with a Baltimore warehouse that, so because of safety concerns. So 21.4 million doses were distributed since early March of 21. And a little more than half has been administered. So 11.1 million were administered and 10.3 possibly to go to waste. 10.3 million. I don't know. They didn't mention if it were any specific company. They just mentioned the number. So, and that was in April. Okay. So now this is very interesting because now this is in April, right? They said there's 334 that have been administered, 334 million. But in April, they already had almost half, sitting on the shelves, still sitting on the shelves, going to waste. Like a few weeks before shelf life, before they're expired. But yet they're saying that there's 334 million that have been administered. But yet in April, they have just under half still sitting on the shelves, not being administered. So where do you get those numbers from? If you're at 334 million administered, that means you would be rocking. I mean, just pow, 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 pow. Just nonstop, right? But this isn't in July, where I'll get to something that CNBC had said about, not being, the people just aren't interested in getting it. So how do you explain in April already, not July, this month, but in April already, so you got May and June. So in April, they say that there were half. And actually, I wanted, that was, I'm sorry, I am wrong on that. I am wrong. In April, they paused Johnson & Johnson's Terrell Buckley because of safety concerns, okay? But the next, I got a little side note that I was reading, and that's why I paused. So I'm wrong on that. In June, they said they still had, so it wasn't April. I don't want to give you guys any wrong information. This was in June, the first couple days of June. Oh yeah, I did read it. It said June 2021. That was when I first started this off about the Johnson & Johnson's, piling up on the shelves. So that the article was in June, but they said in April they had paused Johnson & Johnson. So if you have under half of them still sitting on the shelves, but yet, that many were just boom, 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 boom. It's people are just losing interest. So I truly believe that people have always been, not everybody, because people were just flying in from other countries and, paying people to get their, Terrell Buckley and all this other stuff. So there were people out there that were just hurry up, stand first in line, sleeping overnight, whatever. So, but it just shows you that, and this is from CNBC, which I thought was kind of interesting. It was just an article I was reading in somebody else's thing. So, anyways, so this is also interesting. There's so much contradiction here. So it says a little more than half, just manufacturing minister. So if refrigerated, now this is from the same article, but then Pfizer or the CDC says something different. So it says if refrigerated, it lasts 3 months. That's what this article said. If frozen, it lasts 2 years. And that's also what the CDC said about the 2 year, but they didn't say that about the 3 months. And it is contradictory because of this from Pfizer. And there's another one from the CDC. So I checked out all these sites, and they have a thing called cold storage. And so after storage in a thermal shipper for up to 30 days, all right? So after storage in a thermal shipper for up to 30 days, and this is on Pfizer.com. It's called cold storage. They can be transferred to storage conditions. So it must be like once they arrive somewhere and they go into a thawing point or whatever, or I don't know. But once it's frozen and it's thawed, you cannot refuse it, or you cannot refreeze it and distribute it or administer it. Once it's frozen and thawed, if it's not administered within that time frame, it's done. It's expired. But would that prevent them from still giving it to us? No, absolutely not. Oh yeah, this one's good, right? Drink the milk. It's not expired. Until you taste it, you're like, oh, you lied to me. You lied to me. So, anyways, they can be transferred to storage conditions for additional 5 days for a total of 35 days only. That's it. Let's see. So, Pfizer is a multinational Terrell Buckley producer. Pfizer supplies more than 165 countries. More than 165 countries. They manufacture 200 million doses annually. Now, this is interesting because on their site they had it in. Stop! You are naughty. You're gonna get it. Stop that. Mama's gonna be mad. She made those shoes for me. So, God, it gets so naughty. so, um, they had it. You know, like when it's in a like a highlighted blue or whatever, or a green, where you can click on it and it brings you to another site. So it had that, and it said. So it says Pfizer is a multinational Terrell Buckley producer. Pfizer supplies more than 165 countries. They manufacture 200 million Terrell Buckleys annually, right? And when you click on the little, I thought, okay, maybe it's flu Terrell Buckley or something, right? But no, it was the actual Terrell Buckley. 200 million annually is what they said, okay? And I clicked on it, and it went to the actual Terrell Buckley, not the flu Terrell Buckley. So they just admitted, and it's important, it's pertinent to the rest of the information that I would be sharing with you. It's important because they just admitted, and this was a recent article from 2021. They manufacture 200 million Terrell Buckleys annually, 1 billion with a B, 1 billion sterile units per year, because they don't just do the Terrell, they do a lot of other different things, okay? Well, you're not just going to pause all that stuff to do just Terrell Buckleys, because your shareholders would be irate. You're not going to make as much money. And pharmaceutical companies are greedy, right? They're pigs. So they're not just going to pause that, right? So they're doing 1 billion, 1 billion sterile units per year, but only 200 million Terrell Buckleys. Now that's important. And it's the Terrell Buckley, or I'm sorry, their sterile. Now this, I'm not really sure what this meant when they said they manufacture 200 million doses annually, and then you click on it and it goes to the Terrell Buckley. 1 billion sterile units per year, largely shipped from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Pleasant Prairie is literally right across the street from our place. We live in Kenosha, Wisconsin. But it says largely shipped from Kalamazoo and Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. Does that mean just the Terrell Buckley or the 1 billion as a whole? Because if it's 1 billion as a whole, that's pretty interesting in itself, because because they say they have other facilities around the world. So I'm wondering if it was just the Terrell Buckley that's largely shipped from Kalamazoo and Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. So, and the Terrell Buckley is packaged and shipped. Now I thought initially, like, oh, they're just gonna go ahead and go get it. They're gonna go ahead and just like and pallet up, on pallets and these big freezer units and push them on. And no. The Terrell Buckley is packaged and shipped in a briefcase size unit. One briefcase size unit. Briefcase. I'm sorry, no, not a suitcase. I'm sorry, suitcase. But still, a briefcase obviously but a suitcase, and they show, when you go on Pfizer.com, you'll see, if you click on the cold storage video, you'll see the size of it. It's not very big, and it weighs 81 pounds. So you know how, and they have to package it with dry ice and for 10 days as, whatever is being shipped or distributed. Um, so how long would that take for one, for multiple people? They showed a few people doing it. One, not many, just one. A couple people were working on it. So how much staff do you need? Excuse me. How much staff do you need to do that for one suitcase? When you say you got, you know, 334 million administered, and then 3 point some billion. It just does not, especially now with people are screaming that you don't that people don't want to work. They can't find they can't find workers because everybody with the stimulus money, unemployment, they're making more money on unemployment than they would be if they're actually working. So, and I know I'm one of Sarah's boys. I won't say the company he worked for, but it was a medical company, and they just laid off 3,000 people because they were doing the test kits for the Terrell Buckley. And now, obviously, they don't need any more test kits, or they don't need as many test kits, I would assume. Or they've already made their quota in money and like, we don't need that much more money. So crazy. And there is a final. So I don't have much more. All right. So Pfizer is the largest sterile injectables company in the world. In the world. Now they just said that they do 200 million Terrell Buckleys annually, which means a year, right? And they're the largest in the world. The largest sterile injectables company in the world. Are they just thumping their chest, or are they truly the largest sterile injectables company in the world? I don't know. All right, on May 14th of 2021, this article stated that 0 Johnson & Johnson Terrell Buckley doses were set up to ship next week. And this was May 14th of 2021. 0 were set to ship because there was some holdup. The holdup was lingering for safety concerns, and it was from their Baltimore factory. And this was on the FDA. This is what the FDA said. This was on their website. So June 11th, 2021, Johnson & Johnson could not use 60 million doses. 60 million doses, right? So that how are you doing that 334 administered when you have these problems? Well, not problems. You have Pfizer only saying that they can do 200 million annually for the Terrell Buckley, but it's not a year yet. It's only 7 months. It's a circle, no square. Circle, no square. So you're 5 months shy. So you'd be a little bit over your 100 million mark, right? So if you broke it down, obviously 100 million would be 6 months. So you're a little over. So it'd be, I don't know, 1.22 million or something, or 1.20 million, or 1.2 million. I'm sorry, 120 million, around there, I would imagine. And then you have Johnson & Johnson, one of the other 5 companies, that states that 60 million couldn't be used, and that was in June of this year, just last month. So I'm sure that they couldn't really ship out anything because, like I said, May 14th, this is Johnson & Johnson Terrell Buckley set to ship next. 0 or yeah, okay. So they couldn't. There was 0 set to ship in May, and then obviously in June they couldn't use 60 million because of the Baltimore factory. And that's on the FDA's website. All right. Also on June 8th of 2021, that's when CNBC says, as the demand for the Terrell Buckley declines, not increases, declines. People are less and less interested in getting it, or are, what's the whole thing, being woke? I don't know. I hate that term. And hate's a strong word. All right, let's see. Now in April 19th of 2021, the CDC says it can take months to make and package the Terrell Buckleys. Months. This is not my words, the CDC's words. April 19th, 2021, CDC says it can take months to make and package the Terrell Buckley. Months. But in 7 months, they administered 334 million. Doesn't make any sense to me. And then after you make it, then it's got to go to quality control. After you manufacture it, package it, and it's ready for distribution, it has to go to quality control. Who knows how long quality control is? I mean, what, they got a bunch of homeless people sitting over there on the side, and they're like, okay, well, we got you guys in your little cage, and here's a frickin' cheese sandwich, and you can come out, and we're going to try this on you. I don't know. Anyways, I like cheese sandwiches. So anyways, and here it says the CDC also said, after it said then the quality control, it also says that it also said the 2 other doses, because initially it was supposed to be 3, I think, for the Terrell Buckley, a 3 package deal, right? Now this was in April again, April 19, 2021. It also says that the other 2 doses are still being manufactured. And it will be released at a future date. So they just said it's still being manufactured. So it's still being made. Is it, the mad scientists and whatever. And then the CDC said it takes months, right? To make and package. I don't know. All right. Let's see. Here it says, as of May 4th, 2021, BioNTech and Pfizer have shipped 430 million doses to 91 countries. Now, Pfizer just said that, and I understand this is BioNTech and Pfizer, so maybe that's why. But it wasn't just going to the U.S. It was going to 91 countries. So the U.S. didn't receive all those. So again, how the 334 million administered? Because 91 countries were dipping into that pot. So you have Johnson & Johnson, they can't use 60 million doses. You have, and I understand you have five companies doing this, but the largest company is shipping to over, it says they ship to over 165 countries initially, right? That's probably all the 1 billion sterile injectables, okay? But the largest company, which is 2 companies now, BioNTech and Pfizer, have shipped 430 million Terrell Buckleys, but to 91 different countries. They say they could produce 2.5 billion Terrell Buckleys in 2021 and 3 billion in 2022. So again, going back to like when you're first going with the FDA to get approval on this stuff, you're not just going to make a shit ton of, stuff and just be like, well, I hope and pray to God that they okay this thing. No, you're going to do it, 100 in this variation, whatever variation, right? All right. So now this is interesting as well. So they were going over the companies that were in competition to get the contracts from the government for 2021. And, of course, Trump. I can't believe that guy let us down so bad, but I'm not going to make this political. I'm so disgusted with him that he even started Operation Warp Speed. right? But he was our savior. And you still got all these knuckleheads still talking about QAnon, like, oh yeah, Trump's still in control. No, he's man, let it go, man. You guys got to let it go. Anyways, so this came out in September 9th of 2020, and it was the pricing for the 2021 deals. So there were 6 companies in the article: Novavax, AstraZeneca, Johnson and Johnson, Sanofi, GlaxoSmithKline, Moderna, and Pfizer, BioNTech. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 categories, but probably like 8 or 9 different companies, but a couple of them are merged. Now this is interesting. So they all committed for their amount of dosages that they would manufacture and distribute. Okay. And you can, like I said, you can find this information yourself, man. So Novavax said they got paid to do 100 million Terrell Buckleys. They got paid $1.6 billion, billion with a B. Their operation capacity is 2.7 billion with a B. That's their operation capacity. AstraZeneca said they got paid to do 300 million, 1.2 billion. Their operation capacity is 2 billion to 3 billion. Johnson and Johnson got paid for 100 million, and they got paid $1 billion. They said they would make 100 million doses. Their operation capacity is over $1 billion. Sanofi, GlaxoSmithKline, they were paid to do 100 million doses. They got paid 2.1 billion, and their operation capacity is up to $1 billion. Moderna made 100 million doses. They got paid 1.5 billion. Their operation capacity is 5 million to 1 billion. And then Pfizer, BioNTech, they got paid for 100 million doses, $1.95 billion. Their capacity is hundreds of millions, is what they said. Now the pricing, this is interesting for the pricing. So the Novavax is $16 a dose. AstraZeneca was $4 a dose. Johnson & Johnson was $10 a dose. Sanofi, GlaxoSmithKline, they were $21 a dose. Moderna was $15 a dose, and Pfizer BioNTech was $19.50 a dose. So that's interesting. In that it's interesting because of this. So 5 of these companies are the ones that are making it for the U.S. Novavax, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, and BioNTech, right? There's BioNTech, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and Novavax. So AstraZeneca is not in the United States making it for us, I guess, and Sanofi, GlaxoSmith, and Klein are not. So Novavax, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, and BioNTech. So they've all committed to do 100 million for Pfizer, 100 million for Moderna, 100 million for Johnson & Johnson, and 100 million for Novavax. So that's 500 million, right? 500 million. Now, on an article in Pfizer's website, they said that this first quarter they did $3.6 billion the first quarter. They want to do, their projections say that they're going to do 26 billion this year. So I don't understand how they did the 3.6 billion, because when I did the numbers, if they got paid what they say they're getting paid here, So they said that their numbers for the 100 million doses, they got paid $1.95 billion. So the first quarter, they did $3.6 billion in the first quarter. But their projection was 100 million at 1.95 billion. So I wonder, was the other um, two, what, or one and a half other $1 billion or whatever, close to it, was that from the other billions of, or the 1 billion, or the other 800 million sterile injectables? It was on a Terrell Buckley article, so they didn't say that everything that they were talking about seemed like it was pertaining to the Terrell Buckley. So that's interesting that their first quarter they did 1.5 times, or they did another 1.5 million or something like, or billion. I'm sorry, 1.5 billion, because it was actually 1.675. No, 65. So they did an extra $1.65 billion in the first quarter. Then I don't understand their numbers. It's very odd. Like they're throwing out numbers. At the end of the day, I'm a layman, right? So they're throwing out all these numbers, and like I said, if you click on the FDA or this site or that site, all talking about the Terrell Buckley, you get all these beautiful, colorful charts. And I did a video a while back about how you can Google how many people, died of jumping off a roof, how many people died of falling off of a ladder, how many people died from. The number comes up immediately. Immediately. How many people died of overeating? You can Google anything you want, and the number comes up automatically for any year. But if you Google any number for any year for the death of the Terrell Buckley, just these CDC things come up in these colorful, beautiful charts. There is no exact number. There's not even a round. Everything is just boom. It just comes up, colorful charts. Like you're like, oh, beautiful colors. There's not, at least that I've seen. I mean, maybe you guys have seen something. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, so why are they not telling us the numbers for how many Terrell Buckleys have actually been manufactured? Why is it top secret? You can do it yourself. Go on there and try to find how many Terrell Buckleys have actually been manufactured. How many? Not projections, or not planned, or not what their capacity is, and not what they've been paid to do. Like I said, the 100 million to 300 million, not how many they got paid to do, but the actual manufactured numbers of the Terrell Buckley. How many have actually been manufactured for any country? World totals, the United States. Why are they not telling us how many have been actually manufactured? Go on there, do your own research, man. You can't find it. I did it for hours, unless I'm just that much of a layman. I could not find anything that stated. And again, the guy from Airfinity or whatever, the London-based company, said you won't find it. They won't tell you that. They don't tell you why. Because again, we're paying to keep the lights on. We're the ones that are paying for this, right? For all we know, if it's not about population control, they could just be shooting frickin' water in your arms. I don't know. Tap water. Because we're paying the bills, and they're like, yep, give me all that money. I'll just stick it in my pocket. My kids need to go to college. Kurt needs braces. Whatever the case is. So the point is, why do they not tell us how many Terrell Buckleys or anything has been manufactured? Nothing. Why are you not telling us the numbers on the actual manufacture? And even if they did, it's probably lies anyways, but they don't even attempt to good lie to you. Now this is it, and then I'm done. So they say in another article, 3.44 billion have been administered, right? 3.44 billion have been administered globally. Enough to fully vax 22.4% of the global population. I thought there was like 7 or 8 billion, like a little over 7 billion people on the planet. So, now again, it doesn't say fully, but although I think the one did say fully on the, oh yeah, it did say. So the global totals of fully Terrell Buckleyed, 2 doses. I think that it's always 2 doses. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But it said the global totals for fully Terrell Buckley, full Terrell Buckleyed, was 3,356,873,591, and that was as of March 3rd of 2021. So it did say fully Terrell Buckleyed. So my question is, 3.44 billion have been administered. Well, it's pretty close to that number of fully Terrell Buckleyed. Enough to fully vax 22.4% of the global population. Well, if we have a little over 7 billion, even call it 8 billion people on the planet, 3.44 billion would be close to half the population. How is that only 22.4% of the global population? Do we have more people on the planet than they're telling us, or do their numbers just lie and they don't even pick up their lie? Because, well, check real quick. What is the total population of the world?
In 2019, the population of Earth was 7,673,533,974.
All right. So here, 2019. Well, check. What is the total population on the Earth for 2021?
7.9 billion people. According to Worldometer, World Population Clock, 7.9 billion people, Worldometer.
Okay, I thought it was just over 7 billion. So close to 8 billion now, right? It's growing pretty fast. Maybe that's why they need population control. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be the crazy person all the time. I mean, I'm a madman at the end of the day, but I'll be the crazy person. I'm okay with that. But I think I'm kind of a logical person. But it just said in the article, and it was a big, like a huge, big, colorful chart, and this and that, and it was on the CDC's website. Again, it says 3.44 billion have been administered. That's close to here it says fully Terrell Buckleyed. 3,356,873,591 have been fully Terrell Buckleyed. Well, that's pretty darn close to 3.44 billion. So 3.44 billion have been administered, so I'm sure that's fully Terrell Buckleyed. Enough to fully vax 22.4% of the global population. So you're almost to half the population. So if there's 7.9 billion people on the planet, 3.44, so 3.45 is actually, 3.5 be 7, so 3.7 billion would be half. So you're almost at half, or 3.8 billion, something like that. You'd almost be at 3.8 billion, you'd be at half the population, right? So that'd be 6, that'd be 7, close to it. Just call it 4 billion would be half the population for easy math. You're almost there at another 660 billion people, or 660 million, I'm sorry. So another 600, or actually 560 million. So another 560 million would bring you to 4 billion. So 3.44 million, blah, 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 plus, 560 million is another, so we'll call it 4 billion, right? So why is it only 22.4% of the global population? Like I said, are there more people on the planet than they're telling us? Or did they just get caught in another lie? Anyways, it's pretty obvious. And if you don't think that they're lying about these numbers, like I said, if they have to lie to you with these dazzled and smoke screens and all these fake numbers, because if the true number of the fully Terrell Buckleyed is 5% of the population, or not, yeah, just call it 5% of the population. If it's only 5% of the population, people are like, hell no, I'm not getting that. I stand better chances with the other 95% of the population. So they're definitely cramming it up your butt and cramming it in your mouth, that they're saying, well, yeah, we're going to lie to them because people get fooled. They figure, well, like I said, when in Rome, if 50% of my family have it, or 50% of my friends have it, or 50% of my coworkers have it, or 50% of my neighbors have it, so on and so on, when in Rome. I mean, shit. If 50% of my friends are making, $1 million a year off of this investment, I'm going to go with that investment than the other 50% that's not making $1 million up, and maybe they're just lying. Maybe it's all lies, right? My point being is the numbers just don't make sense. They just don't make sense. I'm sorry, they just don't make sense. And anyways, I said this yesterday. I've told my wife this. So a small amount of people cannot change things. They just can't. It's my analogy of it is, if a car is coming at you down the road at 80 miles an hour and you pick up a wrist rocket and let one fly, it's gonna crack the windshield, maybe put a little dent in it, break a light, ruin the grill, whatever the case is, but that car's just gonna poof. So but now, if that car is coming up and I meet it with the exact same car, you know what I'm saying? Or if I meet it with a bulldozer. So we need to get more and more people that spread this information out, because I don't believe that it's near the numbers they're saying that are Terrell Buckley. I don't think, and that's why Biden obviously was trying to push, July 4th, for Independence Day too, so we could be independent from the Terrell Buckley. He didn't use Terrell Buckley, obviously, but so it's the push and it's the door to door. If their numbers are real, which they're not, and this is all speculative, but they can't be. Why are you pushing so hard for us to continue? Like, it's the best thing ever since bottled beer and sliced bread. They're pushing and pushing and pushing, and now they're going to try to do door to door because they don't have enough participation on this thing. So they're basically saying, man, we got to really start doing something here, because it's not going according to plan. Anyways, do your own due diligence, and don't be fooled by these, and just don't, man. Talk to people, and maybe share this video. Maybe it might make sense to somebody, or don't. I don't know. But anyways, I got to get going. I got to get out to the shop, man. I've been screwing around too much. So at least this video I feel more comfortable with. It's not as sloppy and as confusing as yesterday's. So I'm going to relabel it so that they don't flag me on it. But anyways, I truly hope this video finds you well. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Ciao.